Excuse me. Is this the beach hotel?
That's right, dear.
I see. This must be it. I'm Barbara King. I believe you have a reservation for me.
Oh, yes. Come in, dear. I was beginning to wonder if you were coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't get an earlier train and there were no taxis at the station.
You had anything to eat?
Yes, thank you.
I could make you a cup of tea.
Oh, no, that's all right.
You did say it was just for the week, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. There you are, dear. Nice room facing the sea, if you don't mind the ground floor.
No, not at all.
Find it nice and peaceful here. We're never very busy this time of the year.
No, I guess not.
Shall I call you in the morning?
No, thank you. I'd like to sleep in.
You look tired.
Well, that's why I'm here. The firm's doctor ordered me a week's rest by the sea.
You've been overworking.
Something like that.
Oh, well, I'll leave you then. Have a nice rest.
Thank you.
Yes?
I'm sorry to bother you, sir, but there was a man in my room, standing right over my bed.
When?
Just now, not 2 minutes ago. I couldn't call the manager just because I don't know her name or what room she's in.
Oh, just wait a minute when I get my shoes on.
I screamed out loud, very loud. Maybe you heard me. And then the man ran out the door and slammed it.
I'll come and find Mrs. Walker.
Thank you.
Now, you go and sit there, and I'll go and find Mrs. Walker. My husband will have a look round.
Thank you.
Well, let's have a look in your room, shall we? You're the young lady who arrived this afternoon, aren't you?
Yes, my name is Barbara King.
How'd you do? Came to Southcliffe for a rescue, I believe. Bit of nervous trouble, Mrs. Walker was saying.
Was she? Look, there was a man in my room, wearing glasses and a raincoat and some sort of hat. I was awake and I saw him with my own eyes.
I believe you. Nobody there.
I'm sorry to put you to all this trouble.
It's no trouble.
He must have come in through the street, through a window or something. There's nobody in the place, dear, only Mr. and Mrs. Plimmer and myself. All the other guests have gone.
Ah, no wonder. There's your answer, Mrs. Walker. Front door was unlocked. Must have tried it and walked straight in.
What, a tramp or something?
Now, don't be stupid. More likely one of your peeping Toms.
Saw the young lady getting undressed through the window and fancied his chances. As soon as she screamed, he'd have rushed off out again out through the front door.
Well, you better get upstairs and have a good look round just to make sure.
I'm sorry you had such a nasty fright, dear.
It's all right. I'm sure he's gone.
It's my fault for leaving the front door unlocked. I never forget as a rule. Must have been when I let you in. I was thinking of your room and your dinner and... well, it slipped my mind.
It's all right. I'm fine now, just a little scared.
Why don't you go back to bed, dear, and I'll come and tuck you in.
I've looked everywhere, Mrs. Walker, even the linen cupboard. Nobody there.
Well, I'll get back to bed then.
I should.
Come on, Jim.
If you hear anything again, don't hesitate to call me, will you?
Come on, dear. Back to bed. I'd rather you didn't say anything about this, dear, if you don't mind.
You mean not reported to the police?
Well, it's just that Mr. and Mrs. Plimmer have been coming here for the last 5 summers, and they're really very nice people.
Mrs. Walker, are you suggesting that the man in here was Mr. Plimmer?
I'm not saying anything, my dear. Only that Mr. Plimmer was ill for some years. Some sort of breakdown, so she said. He doesn't sleep, you know. He sits up all night long in a chair reading. Sometimes he goes for long walks all night. Well, that's why I gave him the key to the front door.
He was up and dressed when he came to the door.
Didn't you say you thought the man you saw was wearing glasses?
He was. And he was about Mr. Plimmer's build, from what I could tell.
Well, I know I did leave the front door unlocked, and somebody could have come in from the street, but...
I see what you mean.
Well, look, they're going the day after tomorrow.
Well, I could always lock my door, I suppose. I'll be all right.
Are you sure? Because if you're nervous, I can give you a room upstairs or at the back or...
No, don't bother. I'll be fine.
And my room's just along the corridor past the dining room, and so I'm not far away if you want me.
Good. I'm sure he won't try it again.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, dear. Dreadful weather, isn't it?
Horrible.
You know, it's quite nice here in the summer.
I'm sure it is.
What a shame you're having such rotten weather for your holiday.
Well, plenty of sea breezes, that's what the doctor ordered.
Your firm must think a lot of you, sending you away to the sea for a week like this.
Well, I wasn't really being much use to them crying all over my desk every day.
What was it, dear? Or am I being nosy?
No. I've been working very hard, long hours mostly. And then on top of all that, I had a personal problem.
Oh, dear, I'm so sorry. Well, perhaps you'd rather not talk about it.
No, it's all right. It's over now. A man I was supposed to marry changed his mind.
Never mind, dear. There's more fish in the sea, as they say. What you want is a good rest, plenty of fresh air, and you'll feel quite differently about it after a few days here.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bore you with my trouble.
Don't be silly. It does you good to have someone to talk to.
You're very kind.
You're my last visitor, you know. My last visitor of the season.
Am I?
Oh, yes. I shall be closing down altogether next week for the winter.
I see.
And when Mr. and Mrs. Plimmer go the day after tomorrow, you'll have the whole place to yourself. I hope you don't mind.
No, why should I? Quiet is what the doctor ordered. Plenty of rest.
Well, I'm afraid it wasn't very quiet for tonight, dear. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. We've got a couple of Mr. Plimmers around the office. I'm getting used to it.
Well, if you feel nervous and lonely in the evening, you can always come into my room and watch TV. Or we could chat.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Well, I mustn't chat anymore or you'll be losing your beauty sleep. Good night, then.
Good night.
And don't you worry, dear. It won't happen again. I'm quite sure of that. Good night.
Good night.
Miss King.
Good morning.
Found something to read?
Yes, thank you.
Thriller?
No, an historical novel about the Reformation.
Yeah, I don't expect you're in the mood for a thriller after last night.
Oh, that.
You think it was me that came to your room, don't you?
Why, should I?
Mrs. Walker told my wife that you said that the man was about my build, he had glasses. So, it could be, couldn't it?
If you'll excuse me, Mr. Plimmer, I have some things to do.
Are you in a hurry?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've got some shopping and I'd like to get it done.
Come and have a coffee with me. The wife will be a full hour yet.
That's very nice of you, but I really must get going. Maybe some other time.
But there won't be another time. That's the point. We're going in the morning, the wife and me.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll see you and Mrs. Plimmer back at the hotel.
Wasn't it nice then?
Oh, sorry.
You haven't touched your stew, have you?
Well, I wasn't very hungry.
What a shame. Can I get you anything else? Some cheese, perhaps?
No, thank you. Just some coffee, please.
Mrs. Walker will be disappointed.
I'll explain it to her. What happens to you when the hotel closes?
I go back to school on the 12th.
See, then you don't live in.
Oh, no, I live in Station Road. I come down on my bike just for the meals and to do the beds.
Did you work your last summer vacation?
No, I had a job at the Pier Cafe last year.
Did you like that?
It was all right. I like it better here, though. Mrs. Walker's a very nice lady. Very kind.
Yes, I know she is.
She said I could sleep in if I wanted to, but I prefer to go home. Enjoy your dinner?
I wasn't really very hungry.
Oh, dear.
I think I'll just have myself a cup of coffee and go for a walk.
Good idea. I won't look up till you come back.
What do you want?
I was just coming to say goodbye. You see, we're leaving first thing in the morning, catching the early train.
Well, goodbye then, and say goodbye to Mrs. Plymouth. Mrs. Walker? Mrs. Walker? It's Miss King. Would you come along to my room, please?
Whatever's the matter? Oh, my goodness.
He was lurking outside the door.
Oh, dear.
Oh, come on. They may be very old friends of yours and very regular clients, but that man is not just a harmless old lecher. He's not normal. He could be dangerous.
I'm sorry, dear, that this sort of thing should have happened to you again, but Mr. and Mrs. Plymouth have been out since dinner time. They've only just this minute got in.
Wait a minute. Where did this come from?
What is it, dear?
It's a man's glove.
Well, yes, it is, isn't it?
It has a name tag. B. Walker. Would you happen to know who that is? Mrs. Walker?
Yes, dear. Bernard Walker. I'm afraid that belongs to my husband. Milk and sugar, dear.
Thank you.
It's 25 years from when I started as a child. I got my first job on the stage at 7.
7. It's young to start acting.
Well, Mum and Dad are in the business, you see. They used to do a comedy sketch outside a pub with a kid. I was the kid. Lovely people, all that lot. All dead now, of course. Well, most of them. That's my Mum and Dad in Panto.
Mrs. Walker, are you going to tell me about your husband?
What did you say, dear?
Your husband. You said the glove was his. Where is he?
Well, it's a long story, dear, and a very sad one.
You're divorced?
No, we never were divorced. We live apart. Have some more tea, dear.
Oh, thank you. What was his glove doing in my room? Do you have any idea?
Yes, my dear, I'm afraid I have. Because he's been here again. Last night and again tonight. It must have been him in your room. And I let you think it was Mr. Plymouth who wouldn't hurt a fly. That was wicked of me. Wicked. When all along I knew it was my Bernie. I had to try and cover up for him, dear. I didn't want you to know. But then you found his glove, didn't you?
Mrs. Walker, if you try to explain it to me simply, I'll try to understand.
He's ill, my dear. He wanders about up and down the coast. It's his mind. He's not normal. We had this terrible row about a year ago. He's so jealous of me. You see, we had this double act and we used to do a number called A Couple of Toffs, and I got all the laughs. Well, you don't want to hear about that. Well, then the war came and he had a bad heart and we packed it up. I'd got something stashed away, so I bought this house, with my money, mind you. And anyway, for a while, we were very happy.
And then the trouble started.
Well, he hadn't got a job, you see, dear, just helping me around the place. And I think he felt a bit humiliated, depending on me, you see. And, well, we got on each other's nerves, and we had this terrible...
And then he left.
Not exactly. I told him to clear out and find someone else to live off. I shouldn't have said those things. I didn't mean half of them. But he took me at my word, and the next morning, gone. Just left a note saying he could take care of himself very nicely.
And why does he keep coming back?
I don't know, my dear. He's not normal, you see. At first, he used to ring the bell and ask for clothes and money like some tramp. He'd pretend not to know me, just ask for things, and slammed the door in my face. And he started to ring me up at midnight, saying he was the vicar collecting for the poor. But I knew his voice. And then he started writing me these postcards. Dirty pictures on them. Saying he was keeping an eye on me, watching me wherever I went. Look, I've got one of them here.
It's incredible.
Jealousy. You see, me having such a busy life with people coming and going, especially in the season, and I used to get out quite a bit, you know, with my residents. Used to go to concerts and shows and that, and he'd see me out and about having a good time, and, well, he's not normal. And then he just started walking into the place.
Why can't the police pick him up and at least get him some medical help?
Well, they don't know where he is, my dear. He keeps changing his room. Besides, I wouldn't go to the police. I couldn't. After all, he is my husband, you know. And if they picked him up, they'd put him in a loony bin. I couldn't do that to Bernie.
Mrs. Walker, don't you think that might be the kindest thing to do for you, Bernie?
I couldn't live with myself knowing I'd put him into one of those places.
Mrs. Walker, you said yourself that your husband's not well. He could be violent. It's not safe to let him run around like that. I mean, if he feels that he can come in and out of here any time he pleases. How does he get in here when the door's locked?
Well, he had his own key to the front door when he left me.
And you haven't changed the lock?
I'm always thinking about it, dear, but I hope that he'll stop pestering me and go off somewhere else.
Look, Mrs. Walker, I know it's none of my business, really. And I'm very sorry to hear about your problems, but I think the least you can do for your guests is change the lock. Immediately.
I'm so worried about it. I don't know what to do.
All right. Don't get upset. Maybe I can help you. I'll try to think of something.
You'll want to leave here after this, I know you will. But I won't charge you.
No, I don't want to leave. I'll stay here and keep you company if you promise to get that lock changed first thing in the morning.
Very well, then, I promise. I know a shop in the high street that does locks and keys. We'll go there tomorrow, shall we?
Right. Tell me something, Mrs. Walker. Do you still love him?
I suppose so. Why?
Would you have him back?
He'd never come back, not to me. He's got this obsession that I hate him. He's convinced himself of that. You going to bed now, dear?
Yes.
Just a minute, dear. Look, seeing there'll only be the two of us after tomorrow, would you have any objection to calling me Joan?
No, of course not. Good night, Joan. Oh, my name is Barbara.
Well, cheerio, Mrs. Walker. Thanks. Until next year, eh?
Yes, that's right. It's a shame having your holiday with this rotten weather. I'll get you back, Jim.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Plimmer are just leaving.
Yes, I know. I thought I'd like to say goodbye.
Oh. Ta-ta, then. Well, we'd best be going or we shall miss our train.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Look, I'd like to apologize for the other night. I'm very sorry. I was upset. Please forgive me.
No hard feelings. I wear specs. The bloke wore specs. It's only natural. No, it's... As I said, some peeping Tom came in from the street. And between you and me, I don't blame him. Cheerio.
Goodbye, Mr. Flynn.
Goodbye, Mr. Walker.
Goodbye. Pleasant journey. That's them gone.
It was stupid of me to accuse him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please don't mention it again. They'll come back next year. They always have and they always will. Have you had your breakfast, dear?
No, not yet.
Neither have I. Let's go and have some nice eggs and bacon, and then we can go round the shops. You will come with me, won't you?
I'd love to.
Hello, Mr. Butler.
Hello, Mrs. Walker. What may I have the pleasure of doing for you, then?
Well, I want a new lock fitted on my front door at the Beach Hotel.
Oh, yes?
I've had one or two guests go off with their keys lately, so, well, just to be on the safe side. Oh, this is Miss King from America. My last guest of the season.
What time would be convenient for me to come, then?
Well, can you do it today?
Yes, I'll send the lad along this afternoon. 3:30. You want your usual type lock, I take it?
That's right. 3 keys, please. Thank you. Well, that's done.
You'll feel safer now.
We'll both feel safe.
Good evening, Peggy. Evening, Miss King. Oh, you'll be here for dinner, won't you? Yes. Oh, did you get those things ironed for me? Yes, they're all done. I put them in the airing cupboard upstairs. Great. I think I'll get them before I forget about it. Oh, I'll fetch them for you, Miss King. No, don't worry about it. Thanks. Dinner's about ready, miss. All right, I'll be right down. Mrs. Walker? Is that you? Joan? Joan! Miss King? Yes, Peggy, thank you. You did a lovely job. Peggy, what's that little room up next to the linen closet upstairs? I'm not sure. I don't go up there very often, but I think it's the box room. Mrs. Walker always keeps it locked. Is it possible that there could be somebody living up there, Peggy? What do you mean? Well, a hotel guest who's sick or bedridden or something. Oh, no. There's nobody in the place now. Only you and Mrs. Walker. Why? Well, I just, heard something up there and Oh, just my imagination. He must have been here again. Look, if he was here, how could he have gotten in with the new lock on the front door? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I wanted to talk to you about what we found last night. The pipe. You were quite right, you know. I mean, with the new lock on the door, we couldn't have been who we thought it was.
No, I guess not.
I laid awake all night long puzzling it out, and then I thought of something.
Oh, really? What was that?
Well, we mustn't jump to conclusions, but you know, Mr. Butler didn't send his boy over to fix the new lock. He came himself. And Mr. Butler smokes a pipe. I've seen him. Well, I only thought I'd mention it.
Are you sure your husband isn't in this hotel?
How could he be?
He could be hiding somewhere.
There's nowhere for him to hide.
Oh, isn't there? What about that room up there next to the linen cupboard?
The box room? That's been locked for ages.
Who's got the key?
I have, dear. Well, somewhere. Oh, I must have left it in a drawer with my other keys. I haven't been up there for ever such a long while.
Look, Mrs. Walker, I don't want to frighten you. But I thought I heard something in that room yesterday evening. Somebody walking around in that very room.
No, that's not possible, dear. There's nobody there. Just a lot of old trunks and some cardboard boxes and a couple of broken chairs.
Couldn't we have a look anyway?
Yes, if I can find the key. But there's nobody up there, dear. Now, look, you mustn't worry about Bernie. He can't get in now. We've got the new lock on the door. Oh, come and have a drink with me. I've got a bottle of whiskey in my room. I don't touch it as a rule, only when visitors come, but I've got the pip tonight. Oh, come and have a nip with me, and I'll sing you a music-hall song.
Yeah, maybe a drink is exactly what I need.
That's my wee girlie. Come on. Come in, my dear, and sit you down. Will you take a wee dram with me?
Just a little, please, not too much.
Just enough to keep away the cold, eh? There. Cheers, Barbara. Cheers.
Good luck.
Nothing like a little drop of whiskey to chase away the blues. When I was in the theatre, dear, I always kept a bottle in my dressing room. Mind you, I was very careful. Drinking in the theatre is a dangerous game. I never went on tiddly. I wouldn't dare. But I could name some who did. How they got away with it, I shall never know.
You were a singer, weren't you?
Yes. Well, later on. I was a comedian at first, and all comics in those days needed a number to get them off with. Well, they still do. So I learned a couple of numbers for my act. But tell me, how did you know I was a singer?
I heard you humming once or twice, and early this evening we're singing some sort of song.
When was that, then?
When I went upstairs and you were in the kitchen. Something about a naughty boy holding out his hand.
Gertie Coburg. And could she belt it out?
Hold your hand out, you naughty boy. Hold your hand out, you naughty boy. Last night in the pale moonlight, I saw you with a nice girl in the park.
Don't worry, dear. I'll take care of this.
Is the hotel open, please?
We rang the bell, but we couldn't get an answer.
Sorry, I'm closed for the season.
Oh, well, there's nothing outside to say you're closed. Look, we want a room for the night.
Just for the one night. Couldn't it be arranged?
I'm sorry, I can't open the place once I'm closed. I've got no staff, for one thing. Try the Tideways on the corner. She's always open.
Well, you don't look close to me. Oh, come on, Cyril. We'll have to try this other place.
Why couldn't they have stayed? It's so cold outside.
I can't be bothered with them. Come and have another drink. Come on.
No, thank you. I'll just go to bed if you don't mind.
Come along, old boy. Pull yourself together. Put your tie straight. We've got a full house tonight.
Oh, good morning, miss.
Good morning. I'm staying with Mrs. Walker at the beach hotel. We came in the other day.
Yes, I remember. You're the young lady from America. You know, I've got a nephew in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Been there for 5 years now.
Really?
Yes.
I just came in for some picture hooks.
Large or small?
Small. I guess you've known Mrs. Walker a long time.
Oh, a good many years now. Well, she doesn't come in often nowadays. Of course, Mr. Walker used to come in a lot at one time, looking for nails and screws and that for doing odd jobs about the place.
Well, in spite of everything, I think she misses him. Gets lonely.
She would do, miss. That'll be 9pence, miss.
Maybe he'll come back one day.
Come back, miss.
Why not?
Well, I don't think that's likely, miss.
How long since you've seen Mr. Walker?
Oh, about a year ago. Last bank holiday. Just after that, she closed the place and shut herself away for 6 months, not seeing anyone. And last spring, when she opened the place up again, well, it didn't seem right to question her about it. And she's never mentioned his name since.
I see.
Your change, miss.
Thank you.
And she's never mentioned his name since.
He's not normal, Lucy.
You think it was me that came to your room, don't you?
Mr. Plimmer was ill for some years.
It's like I said, some peeping Tom came in from the street.
I couldn't live with myself knowing I'd put him into one of those places.
There's nobody in the place now, only you and Mrs. Walker. You'll get me fired. Look, stop fooling about. Thanks.
Well, can you take a joke?
No, I can't. You ought to be in a madhouse, you great ape. Come on, push off, or Mrs. Walker will be back. I've got to finish the ironing.
I'll see you tomorrow night then, about 8.
Okay, I'll do it at the plaza. Hey, you better go out the back door. Bye-bye. Hurry up. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were in. I'll come back later.
It's all right, Peggy. Come on.
I just came in to turn down your bed.
Good.
Is anything the matter, Miss King?
No, I don't think.
Are you sure? You're looking a bit pale.
Just tired, Peggy.
Would you like me to close the curtains?
Yes, that would be very nice.
Did you have a nice day?
I went for a long walk. Way past Westland Bay.
Did you? It's nice along that end, isn't it? Quite a way to walk, though. No wonder you're tired.
Peggy, is Mrs. Walker back yet?
No, not yet.
Did she say when she would be back?
No, only that she was going out for the afternoon and she might be late.
When she went out, was she alone?
I couldn't say. I was busy in the kitchen, so I didn't see her go. Would you like me to stay with you till she gets back? You know, so you won't be all on your own in the place. I don't mind.
No, thank you. That's all right.
All right. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. Good night, Miss King.
Good night, Peggy.
Selby. You really shouldn't have done that, you know. I was only trying to give you a little fright. 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 A little fright.
Dead? Yes, he was drowned in Lake Windermere. But she couldn't bring herself to accept it. So she brought him to life again by becoming him herself, dressing herself up in his clothes and talking to the reflection she saw in the mirror, inventing a whole new life for him as a wandering mental case to account for his absence, leaving his pipe about the place, sending herself postcards from him, even visiting the rooms of young female residents, which was one of his less attractive habits. She's in here, but only stay a minute if you don't mind.
Hello, darling. You come to see your naughty Auntie Joan?
I can't stay long. I just came to say goodbye. And to tell you that I'm very sorry. I know you're in good hands here. So you don't have to worry.
Well, if they do manage to get me better, will you pop down to Hastings and see me? I'll give you a couple of whiskies and sing you some of my old songs.
Okay.
Oh, Barbara, would you do something for me, dear?
Of course.
Pop those in the letterbox on your way out, will you?
Yes.
Taxi's here, miss. Oh, good, Peggy. I'll be right there.
Ah, there's nothing like a holiday at the seaside, is there, miss?
No, nothing.